My husband's mistress showed up at my daughter's birthday party, and I made the worst decision of my life. I regret it to this day. I found the phone on a Tuesday afternoon while looking for my daughter's charger in my husband's car. It was wedged between the driver's seat and the center console, wrapped in a black case I'd never seen before. The screen lit up when I picked it up, showing a message notification from someone saved as "Work, Jennifer." My stomach dropped even before I swiped it open using his birthday as the passcode, because of course he'd use the same one for everything. The idiot. 4 months. 4 entire months of messages scrolling back through that chat. The first one I saw was from September, just after our daughter started 2nd grade. Just after I'd thrown him a surprise party for his 35th birthday. Just after I'd convinced myself we were doing okay, that the distance I'd been feeling was just normal marriage stuff, the kind of thing that happens when you've been together for 10 years. Hotel reservations with cute little heart emojis, photos I couldn't unsee even if I wanted to, her in his arms, her wearing his company shirt, the navy blue one I'd ironed for him just last week, sprawled across sheets I recognized from the boutique hotel downtown where we'd celebrated our anniversary 3 years ago. The same hotel. He'd taken her to the same hotel where he'd told me he loved me on our anniversary. The irony wasn't lost on me, and neither was the cruelty of it. I scrolled through messages where he called her baby, where she sent him photos late at night, where they made plans around my schedule. "Your wife has that work dinner Thursday," one message read, like I was just an inconvenience to work around, like I was a problem to solve instead of a person he'd promised to love forever. There were inside jokes I didn't understand, references to songs I'd never heard him play, a whole secret language they'd developed while I was home, making dinner and helping with homework, and believing his lies about late meetings and inventory counts and deadline crunches. I sat there in the garage, my daughter calling, "Mommy, where's my charger?" from inside the house, and I methodically photographed everything. My hands were steadier than my breathing. I took screenshots of the worst messages, the ones where she asked if he'd leave me, where he said he was working on it, where she sent photos I won't describe because they're burned into my brain already. Every message, every photo, every disgusting "I love you" and "can't wait to see you tonight, baby." And this is real. We're real. My hands were shaking, but my mind was crystal clear in that terrifying way where you know your life has just split into before and after. I created a hidden folder on my phone, took me 3 tries because my fingers kept slipping, and transferred everything there. Then I put his secret phone back exactly where I'd found it, wedged it between the seat and console at the same angle, made sure the screen was locked, and went inside. "Found it!" I called out, holding up my daughter's charger that I'd grabbed from his glove compartment. She was in the living room watching cartoons, oblivious, happy. I looked at her little face, laughing at something on screen, and felt this wave of protective rage so intense I had to grip the doorframe. She'd be 8 in 3 weeks, 8 years old, and her birthday party was going to be the day everything changed. I made chicken parmesan that night, his favorite. I don't know why I chose that specifically. Maybe some twisted part of me wanted to seem extra normal, extra unsuspecting. I breaded the chicken carefully, made the sauce from scratch the way his mother had taught me, grated fresh Parmesan cheese. I set the table with our wedding china that we only used for special occasions. If he noticed the china, he didn't comment on it. That night at dinner, he asked me how my day was. Just sitting there, cutting his chicken with the knife I'd sharpened that morning, asking about my day like he gave a damn. Like he hadn't spent his lunch hour in a hotel room with someone else. I watched him chew and swallow and smile at our daughter when she told him about her art project at school. Something about painting autumn trees, and I felt this cold distance settle over me. Like I was watching him through soundproof glass. Like he was a stranger who happened to look exactly like my husband. He told a story about a difficult client, some guy who kept changing his order specifications. He did this funny voice imitating the client, and our daughter giggled. I'd heard him do that voice 1,000 times. Now I wondered if he did it for her too. If she got the same performance, the same jokes, the same charm. He had no idea. No clue that I knew everything. No sense that anything was different. He finished his chicken and complimented the Parmesan and asked if there was dessert, and I smiled and said ice cream. And he said great, and our daughter bounced in her chair, excited about ice cream. Our daughter asked if we were fighting because I was being quiet, and I forced a smile so fake it hurt my face. No, sweetie, Mommy's just tired. She looked between us with those big worried eyes kids get when they sense something's wrong, and I felt the first crack in my resolve. But then I looked back at him, at his normal face doing normal things, and the rage came flooding back. I didn't sleep that night. I lay there next to him, listening to him breathe, scrolling through lawyer websites on my phone with the brightness turned all the way down. I work as an administrative manager at a logistics company. Decent salary, benefits, the kind of stable, boring job that pays the bills. He's a sales supervisor in the same industrial park, different company. Our schedules line up perfectly, which I'd always thought was convenient for coordinating childcare. Now I realized it was convenient for something else entirely. I found 3 lawyers who specialized in divorce and custody cases. I read reviews until 3 in the morning. I bookmarked the one who had a reputation for being aggressive and thorough. Then I went through our bank statements on my phone, screenshot every single hotel charge that corresponded with his late work nights, the boutique hotel, the chain hotel by the highway, even a bed and breakfast 2 towns over, hundreds of dollars. Our money we were supposed to be saving for our daughter's college fund. I should mention here that I didn't cry. Not that first night. I was too angry to cry. That would come later, but on Tuesday night I was made of ice and fury. The next morning, I called the lawyer's office and made an appointment for the following Monday. Then I went to work, managed spreadsheets and coordinated shipments, and had lunch with my coworker who complained about her teenage son, and I smiled and nodded like my life wasn't imploding, like I wasn't planning the systematic destruction of my marriage during coffee breaks. The weekend was torture. We took our daughter to the park. We went grocery shopping together. He kissed me goodbye Saturday morning before his golf game, sure it was, and I kissed him back, tasting lies. Sunday night, we watched a movie on the couch and his arm was around me and I wanted to scream. But I didn't. I was patient. I was controlled. I was gathering evidence. Monday's meeting with the lawyer changed everything. I'd chosen his office deliberately, 40 minutes away from our town, in a building where no one would recognize me. His name was Richard. Late 50s, gray hair perfectly trimmed, expensive navy suit with subtle pinstripes, the kind of attorney who'd seen every iteration of betrayal and heartbreak and wasn't shocked by anything anymore. His office smelled like leather furniture and old books and some kind of cedar air freshener that was probably meant to be calming, but just made me more aware of how fast my heart was beating. I walked into his office with my phone full of screenshots and my folder of bank statements I'd printed at work on my lunch break, and I laid it all out on his massive mahogany desk. The messages, the photos, the appropriate ones. I wasn't about to show explicit images to a stranger, even a lawyer. The hotel charges highlighted in yellow on the credit card statements, the pattern of Thursday nights, the gifts purchased that I'd never received, 4 months of methodical documentation spread across his desk like evidence at a trial. He listened without interrupting, taking notes on a yellow legal pad with a fountain pen that made scratching sounds that filled the silence when I paused. His expression never changed. No shock, no disgust, no sympathy. Just professional assessment. When I finished, he looked at me over his reading glasses, the kind people wear on chains around their necks, and said something I'll never forget. You have an ironclad case for divorce. The documentation is thorough, the evidence is clear, the pattern is established. But what you do with that information, how you deploy it, that's going to determine everything that comes next. Are you looking for a clean break? Or are you looking for revenge? The question hung in the air between us. I could hear traffic outside his window. 17 floors down. Someone laughed in the hallway. The clock on his wall ticked steadily, each second passing while I figured out how to answer honestly. I sat there in his leather chair, in his office that smelled like old books and furniture polish and expensive carpet, and I knew the answer before I said it. Both. I wanted both. Both, I said out loud, and he nodded like he'd expected that answer. Then we need to be strategic, he said, flipping to a fresh page on his legal pad. First priority is protecting your assets and your parental rights. Documentation is key. I need you to photograph every valuable item in your home. Make copies of all financial documents, tax returns, mortgage statements, car titles, insurance policies, investment accounts, everything. Create a paper trail that proves the marital assets and your contributions to the household. He walked me through the process systematically. Open an individual bank account at a different bank than our joint accounts. Transfer a reasonable amount of money, enough to live on for a few months, not so much that it looks like I'm hiding assets. Document my daughter's routine, school schedule, medical appointments, extracurricular activities. Establish that I'm the primary caregiver without making it look like I'm deliberately excluding him. Above all, he said, leaning forward with his hands folded on his desk, don't confront him yet. Don't let him know you know. People do stupid things when they're cornered. Hide assets, drain accounts, destroy evidence, create competing narratives. You have the advantage of information right now. Keep it. For how long? I asked. Until we have everything documented and ready to file. 2 to 3 weeks minimum. 3 weeks of pretending. 3 weeks of lying next to him at night. 3 weeks of normal morning routines and dinner conversations and bedtime stories for our daughter. 3 weeks of being the clueless wife while he continued his Thursday night appointments. We'll start the filing process immediately, Richard continued. I'll prepare the paperwork this week. You keep gathering documentation. When you're ready to confront him, you'll already have legal protection in place. I nodded, already thinking about my daughter's birthday party, 3 weeks away, at the community center we'd rented, with 23 kids invited. So I became a spy in my own home. For 3 weeks, I played the perfect wife while secretly dismantling our life together piece by piece. Every morning, I woke up before him, made coffee, packed our daughter's lunch with the little notes she liked. Today, you're amazing. Love, Mom. Kissed him goodbye when he left for work. Every evening, I made dinner, helped with homework, ran bath time, read bedtime stories. We were a picture-perfect family from the outside. But in the quiet moments, when he was in the shower, when he was out getting gas, when he worked late, actually late or hotel late, I couldn't tell anymore, I was building a case against him. I found the credit card statements hidden in his office desk, the one he thought I never looked in. He'd been clever about most of it, using his personal card instead of our joint one, but I had access to all our accounts online and he'd never thought to change the passwords. $300 at a jewelry store in September. I'd received nothing. $200 on perfume at a department store in October. Not my perfume. An $80 charge at a lingerie boutique. Definitely not my size. I photographed every receipt, every statement, every transaction that didn't make sense. A weekend getaway to the coast that he'd told me was a mandatory work conference. $700 at a bed and breakfast, romantic dinner included. I cross-referenced dates with his work calendar that I had access to because we shared a family account, and confirmed what I already knew. No conference, just lies. The worst part wasn't the money, though that hurt. It was the effort he'd put into it. He'd created entire elaborate stories. He'd packed an overnight bag and left early Saturday morning with a travel mug of coffee I'd made him, kissed me goodbye, told me he'd miss me, texted me photos of a convention center that I later reverse image searched and found was stock photography from a website. He'd called me Saturday night to say goodnight, told me the keynote speaker was boring, asked how our daughter's dance recital had gone. I'd sent him videos, he'd responded with heart emojis. All while he was 2 hours away at a romantic inn with her. The level of deception was staggering. This wasn't a moment of weakness or a drunken mistake. This was a calculated double life, maintained through consistent lying, fake scheduling, and apparently a whole separate phone just to manage the logistics. I also started documenting everything about our daughter's life, who took her to school, who made doctor's appointments, who helped with homework, who signed permission slips. Me. Always me. He was present physically, but I was the one running our daughter's life. Richard had told me this would matter in custody proceedings. Every night I transferred new evidence to the hidden folder on my phone. Photos of documents, screenshots of accounts, a detailed log of my husband's schedule versus where he actually was. I was meticulous, methodical, cold. During week 2, I followed him to the hotel again. I sat in my car across the street and watched them through the lobby windows, laughing, touching, completely at ease with each other. They looked like a real couple, like what we used to be before 10 years of marriage and a kid and bills and exhaustion wore us down to roommates who occasionally had sex. Part of me understood the appeal. Jennifer was young, child-free, probably didn't nag him about taking out the trash or budgeting for our daughter's orthodontist appointments. She was the escape from real life, from responsibility, from me. But understanding didn't make it hurt less. And it definitely didn't make me want to hurt him any less. And I found the pattern. Every Thursday night for 4 months. Every single one. Thursday was their night. While I thought he was working late on end-of-week reports, he was with her. The consistency of it made it worse somehow. It wasn't spontaneous passion. It was scheduled, premeditated. He'd put her in his calendar like a dentist appointment. I froze our joint savings account. I removed him as the beneficiary on my life insurance policy. I changed the password to our streaming services. Petty. I know, but it felt good. And I started planning our daughter's 8th birthday party. She wanted a big party this year. Her birthday fell on a Saturday, and she'd asked if we could rent the community center and invite her whole class, 23 kids. I said yes immediately. My husband looked at me surprised. I'm usually the practical one, the one who suggests small gatherings to save money. But he didn't argue. He just smiled and said, "Sure, sounds great, honey." He had no idea what was coming. None. Richard had helped me file the initial divorce paperwork during week 2. Everything was ready. I just had to serve him, but I was waiting for the right moment. My daughter spent the week before her party talking about nothing else. She made a list of games she wanted to play. She changed her mind about the cake 3 times before settling on chocolate with purple frosting. She talked about which friends would sit at which tables. This was the most excited I'd seen her in months. And there was this voice in the back of my head asking if I was really going to do this. I silenced that voice. He'd destroyed our family. I was just making sure everyone knew it. Thursday night, 2 days before the party, he came home late again. I asked where he'd been, and he said traffic. Work ran late, the usual excuses. I nodded and smiled and served him dinner. And I thought about how, in 48 hours, his entire life was going to implode. Friday night, we had a family dinner, the last one we'd ever have. Our daughter was chattering about the party, asking if Daddy would do his funny dance for her friends. He promised he would, made her giggle with a preview of his moves. I watched them together and felt this strange disconnection, like I was already looking at them from the other side of the destruction I was about to cause. My daughter hugged him before bed and said, "I love you, Daddy." He hugged her back and said, "I love you too, Princess." And I thought, after tomorrow, those moments are going to be supervised visits and custody exchanges in parking lots. But I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. The anger was a freight train, and I was just holding on. Saturday morning, the day of the party, I woke up at 5:30. I couldn't sleep anyway. I checked the community center rental confirmation, verified the catering order, confirmed with the entertainment company we'd hired to do face painting and balloon animals. Everything was organized. Everything was perfect. Except for the message I'd received at midnight. An anonymous text to my phone, just a photo of the community center's exterior with no words. I stared at it for 10 minutes trying to figure out who'd sent it. And then I remembered. My husband had posted about the party on social media 3 days ago. He'd shared a photo of the invitation with some caption about his little girl growing up so fast. She'd seen it. She knew about the party, and she was going to show up. I could have stopped her. I could have called her and warned her to stay away. But I didn't. Because some part of me, the part that was made of rage and pain, wanted her there. Wanted her to see what I was about to do. My mother arrived at 10 to help set up. We decorated with streamers and balloons in my daughter's favorite colors, purple and silver. We arranged tables and chairs, set up the gift table, tested the sound system we'd rented for music and the projector we'd borrowed for a slideshow of my daughter's baby photos. That projector. I'd requested it specifically, told my husband it would be cute to show pictures of her growing up. He'd thought it was a sweet idea. He had no idea I'd loaded a USB drive with something else entirely. My mother kept asking if I was okay. I was moving through the setup like a robot, precise and emotionless. She'd seen me plan events before. I'm good at logistics, at making things run smoothly. But this was different. This was military precision. This was preparation for war. "Are you sure about this party?" she asked me while we were hanging the banner. "You seem tense." "I'm fine," I said. "Just want everything to be perfect for her birthday." My mother gave me this look like she didn't quite believe me, but she didn't push. Guests started arriving at 11:30. Kids in party dresses and button-up shirts, carrying wrapped presents, parents dropping them off or staying to chat. My husband played the perfect host, shaking hands with other dads, laughing with the moms, helping kids find the snack table. Our daughter was radiant in her new purple dress, running around with her friends, happy and innocent and completely unaware. I watched it all like I was outside my body, watched parents admire the decorations, watched kids play games, watched my husband smile and joke and pretend his life wasn't about to end. Everything was so normal, so perfect, so about to be destroyed. I watched my husband check his phone 6 times in the first half hour. He looked nervous, kept glancing at the entrance. At one point, he stepped outside to make a call, and when he came back in, his face was pale, but he plastered on a smile and went back to host mode. She was coming. He knew it. And he couldn't stop it without revealing everything. 12 o'clock came and went. 12:10. I started to think maybe she wouldn't show. Maybe she'd gotten the message he was trying to send her. Maybe I'd have to do this without her here. And then, at 12:15, the door opened. She arrived fashionably late. I was standing near the entrance when the door opened, and there she was. Jennifer, blonde hair and curls, makeup perfect, wearing a dress that was way too nice for a child's birthday party. She had a wrapped present in her hands, and this expression on her face, not apologetic, not embarrassed, confident, like she had every right to be there. Our eyes met across the room. She smiled, actually smiled at me. The nerve, the absolute audacity of this woman to walk into my daughter's birthday party, into this room full of families, and smile at me like we were acquaintances meeting at a coffee shop. I felt my heartbeat in my throat. This was it. This was the moment I'd been planning for 3 weeks. The moment where everything changed. The moment where I stopped being the fool and started being the truth teller. My hands were steady. My mind was clear. I was ready. She walked past me without a word and headed straight for the other moms standing by the refreshment table. I heard her introduce herself as a very close colleague of the host, emphasizing very close with this little laugh that made my blood boil. The other moms were polite but confused. Nobody knew who she was or why she was at a kid's party. My husband saw her and froze. I watched the color drain from his face. He started walking toward her, but I moved faster. I intercepted her before she could reach my daughter, who was over by the balloon artist with 3 of her friends. Jennifer. I said her name loud enough that several conversations stopped. So glad you could make it. She turned to me with that same confident smile, but I saw the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. She hadn't expected me to acknowledge her. She'd expected drama, maybe, but not this calm directness. I work with your husband, she said, like that explained everything. Like that gave her permission to be at my daughter's birthday party. I know exactly who you are. I kept my voice steady. I've seen the photos. All of them. The smile dropped. Around us, more conversations were stopping. Parents were starting to notice that something was wrong. I think there's been a misunderstanding, she started, but I cut her off. No misunderstanding. Everyone, can I have your attention, please? My hand moved toward the laptop. For 1 second, just one, I hesitated. I could still stop this. Take her outside, handle it privately, protect my daughter from seeing any of this. But then Jennifer shifted. That confident posture returning, and the rage won. I want to introduce everyone to Jennifer. She's been sleeping with my husband for the past 4 months. The words came out clear and loud, louder than I'd intended, cutting through every conversation in the room. The music was still playing, some cheerful kids' playlist, but it might as well have been silence. Parents froze mid-sentence. A mom holding a paper plate of cake just stood there with her mouth open. 2 dads by the drinks table turned to stare. Even the kids sensed something was wrong. The energy in the room had shifted so drastically that several of them stopped playing and looked toward the adults. My husband was already moving toward me, but I was faster. I walked to the projector where my laptop was connected for the photo slideshow we'd been planning to show later. Cute pictures of my daughter from baby to now. The kind of thing that makes grandparents cry. I closed the slideshow file and opened another folder I'd created that morning. A folder labeled simply, Evidence. I have proof, I said, my voice echoing in the suddenly quiet room. Everyone should know who they're dealing with. Stop, my husband's voice, loud and panicked, closer now. Don't do this here. Think about what you're doing, not at our daughter's party. But I was already clicking through files. The first screenshot appeared on the white screen behind me, blown up huge so everyone could read it. A text message from him to her. Can't stop thinking about last night. You're incredible. The timestamp showed it was from 2 weeks ago, 9:30 at night, right after he'd told me he was going to bed because he had an early meeting. I heard someone gasp. Another mom whispered, "Oh my God," to the person next to her. I clicked to the next one. A photo of them together, his arm around her, both smiling at the camera in what was clearly a hotel room. You could see the corner of the bed, the generic hotel art on the wall, the complimentary coffee maker. Nothing explicit, but the intimacy was obvious. Click. Another message, this one from her. When are you going to leave her? I'm tired of being your secret. His response, soon, baby. I promise. Just need to figure out the timing. Click. A hotel reservation confirmation? The boutique hotel. The same one where we'd celebrated our anniversary. 2 nights in October, $473. I pulled up our joint credit card statement on screen next to it. No charge. He'd used his personal card, hidden it from me. Click. More messages. I love you. Miss you so much. Plans for future trips. Discussions about what they'd do when they were finally together. Jennifer tried to move toward the exit, but several moms had unconsciously formed a kind of barrier. Nobody was physically stopping her, but the crowd had shifted and she was boxed in by scandalized witnesses. One mom grabbed her phone and started taking pictures of the screen. Then another mom did the same. And another. Within 30 seconds, Half the adults in the room were documenting the evidence with their phones. Did you know he was married? I asked Jennifer directly, my voice cutting across the murmurs. Did you know about his daughter? She stammered something I couldn't hear. Someone told her to speak up. I didn't. He said you were separated. She tried. But even she didn't sound convincing. Her voice was shaking. Her face had gone from confidently defiant to pale and trapped. I clicked to another screenshot, one I'd saved specifically for this moment. One where she'd written, "Your wife won't find out," in response to his worry about leaving evidence. The timestamp was from 6 weeks ago. She knew, I announced to the room. She knew the whole time. My husband reached the laptop and tried to close it, tried to unplug something, but I'd already moved to stand between him and the equipment. He looked at me and I saw panic in his eyes. Real fear. That's when I heard my daughter's voice. Small and confused and scared. Mommy? Mommy, what's happening? Why are there pictures of Daddy on the screen? Why is everyone looking at us? My mother moved immediately, scooping up my daughter and trying to take her to another room. But my daughter was fighting her, screaming for me. Mommy! Mommy, what's wrong? What did Daddy do? I turned and saw my daughter's face, red, tears streaming, absolutely terrified. For just a second, the cold fury cracked. For just a second, I thought, what am I doing? This is my baby's birthday party. But then I looked at my husband, at Jennifer trying to edge toward the exit, and I kept going. I've already contacted my lawyer, I said, my voice carrying over my daughter's crying in the background. The divorce papers will be served Monday. And I'll be sending all of this to your company's HR department first thing Monday morning. Jennifer fled, just turned and ran out of the community center. Several parents were gathering their kids to leave. One dad was glaring at my husband like he wanted to punch him. A couple of moms looked at me with this mixture of sympathy and horror. My husband finally found his voice. You're destroying our family. I laughed. Actually laughed. I'm destroying it? You destroyed it. I'm just making sure everyone knows who did the destroying. Then I unplugged the laptop, gathered my things, and walked toward the room where my mother was holding my daughter. The party was over. I'd won. I'd exposed him. And I'd traumatized my daughter on what should have been her happiest day. The drive home was silent. My daughter sat in the back seat staring out the window. Not crying anymore, just empty. When I tried to talk to her, she didn't respond. When we got home, she went straight to her room and closed the door. My mother stayed for a while, cleaning up the house, giving me space. Before she left, she hugged me and said, I love you, but that was cruel. He deserved it, I said automatically. Maybe, but she didn't. My mother looked toward my daughter's closed bedroom door. She didn't deserve any of this. That night, I lay in bed alone for the first time in 10 years of marriage, and I heard my daughter scream at 3 a.m. I ran to her room and found her sitting up in bed, sobbing, saying she dreamed that her parents turned into monsters fighting at her party. I held her and rocked her and told her it was just a dream, but she kept crying and saying it was real. It happened. Everyone saw it. The next week was a blur of phone calls and damage control. Richard served the divorce papers Monday morning. The HR investigation at both our companies started Tuesday. Turned out workplace affairs violated company policy, especially when one party was in a supervisory role. My husband was put on administrative leave pending investigation. Jennifer was terminated within 2 weeks for documented policy violations and creating a hostile work environment. Several colleagues came forward once the investigation started. Apparently, this wasn't her first affair with a married coworker. I heard through the office grapevine that she moved to another state. Good riddance. My own job became uncomfortable. My boss called me in for a conversation about professionalism. Apparently, someone had complained that my personal drama was affecting the workplace. I wasn't fired, but I was quietly moved to a different team, away from anyone who might have connections to my ex-husband's company. The message was clear. Keep your personal life personal. I should have felt vindicated by Jennifer's termination, by my ex's administrative leave. Instead, I felt hollow. The gossip spread through our town like wildfire. Other moms texted me, some supportive, some clearly fishing for details, some just shocked. The story made it to the neighborhood social media groups. Drama at birthday party, someone posted. And suddenly everyone had an opinion about what I'd done. At work, people avoided me, not because they sided with him, most didn't even know him, but because I'd become that person, the one who'd made a scene, the one who'd aired private business publicly, the one who couldn't keep it together. But none of that mattered compared to what was happening with my daughter. My daughter wouldn't go to school Monday. She said her stomach hurt, her head hurt, she couldn't go. I thought maybe she was coming down with something. Tuesday, she refused again, this time screaming when I tried to make her get dressed. Everyone's going to stare at me. Everyone saw. Everyone knows. She was right. The other kids' parents had been there. They'd seen everything. And kids talk. Wednesday, I forced her. I held her hand walking into school. Promised I'd pick her up early if she needed me. She went to her classroom with her head down, not making eye contact with anyone. The call came at 10:30. Principal's office. My daughter had hit another child. I drove to the school in a daze. My daughter, who cried when she accidentally stepped on an ant, had hit someone. When I got there, she was sitting in the principal's office, small and scared, refusing to talk. The other child, a boy named Ryan, told his version. He'd asked where her daddy was. Everyone else had been whispering about the party, but he'd asked directly, and my daughter had punched him in the stomach. "I'm sorry," she whispered when we got to the car. "I'm so sorry, Mommy. He kept asking, and I wanted him to stop." "It's okay, baby," I said. But it wasn't okay. Nothing was okay. The school counselor called that afternoon, strongly recommended therapy, had the name of a child psychologist. Could get us in this week given the circumstances. Dr. Martinez's office smelled like lavender and had toys in the corner, the kind of place designed to put kids at ease. My daughter went in first while I sat in the waiting room, flipping through parenting magazines without reading a single word. After 40 minutes, Dr. Martinez came out. "Can we talk?" Her office had paintings of peaceful landscapes on the walls, a box of tissues on every surface, the universal signals of a place where people came to cry. "Walk me through what happened at the party," she said. I told her. The whole thing. The phone, the evidence, the projector, the screenshots, Jennifer showing up, the confrontation, my daughter screaming. I told it like I was narrating someone else's life. "Why that moment?" Dr. Martinez asked when I finished. "Why did you choose your daughter's birthday party?" "Because," I started. "Because Jennifer came. Because everyone was there. Because I wanted witnesses." I tried all these explanations in my head, but they all sounded hollow. "Because I was angry," I finally admitted. "Because I wanted to hurt him. Because I wanted everyone to see what he'd done to me." "And your daughter? Did you think about her in that moment?" "I thought I was protecting her," I said. But even I could hear how weak it sounded. I thought I was showing her that her mother wouldn't be disrespected, that I would fight back. Dr. Martinez was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something that hit me like a slap. "You weren't protecting her. You were using her birthday as a stage for your revenge. There's a difference." I wanted to argue. I wanted to explain that he deserved it, that Jennifer had come uninvited, that I had every right to expose them. But all I could see was my daughter's face at the party. The confusion, the fear, the screaming. "She drew something in our session today," Dr. Martinez said, sliding a piece of paper across her desk. "I'd like you to see it." It was a crayon drawing, a building, the community center. I recognized the shape. Inside the building were stick figures, 2 giant ones facing each other, both with angry red scribbles for mouths. And between them, tiny and barely visible, a little figure with a sad face. Dr. Martinez pulled out a small recording device. "I recorded part of our session with your permission. I think you need to hear this." She pressed play. Her voice came through, gentle. "Tell me about your drawing, sweetie." My daughter's voice, so small. "That's my birthday party. And who are these big people?" "Mommy and Daddy. They got really, really big. Like monsters. And this little person? That's me. I wanted to hide, but there was nowhere to go. Everyone was looking, and I was so scared." Dr. Martinez stopped the recording. The silence in her office was deafening. "That's how she sees what happened, Dr. Martinez said gently. 2 giants fighting while she's trapped in the middle. Small, powerless, scared. I stared at that drawing and felt something crack inside me. I did this to her. "Yes," Dr. Martinez said. "Not unkindly, just honestly. You did. And now you have to figure out how to help her heal from it." That night, I let Sarah come over. I'd been avoiding everyone, not just her, but all my friends. My family except my mother. Anyone who might ask questions or judge me. But I needed someone to talk to before I lost my mind completely. "Tell me I did the right thing," I said when she sat down on my couch. "Tell me I was justified." Sarah looked at me for a long moment. "You want me to lie to you?" "I want you to make me feel less like a monster." "You're not a monster," she said. "But you made a monstrous choice. There's a difference. He cheated on me for 4 months, Sarah. 4 months of lying and hotels and sneaking around. He deserved to be exposed. Maybe he did. But did your daughter deserve to witness it? Did those 23 kids deserve to see their parents explode? Did your daughter's birthday deserve to become a battleground? I opened my mouth to defend myself and nothing came out. Because what could I say? That I was angry? That I wanted revenge? That I thought public humiliation was justice? I wanted him to hurt. I finally whispered. I wanted him to feel as small and powerless and humiliated as I felt when I found that phone, and I got what I wanted. But now my daughter won't sleep through the night. She hits other kids. She's terrified of birthday parties and social events. She drew a picture of herself as a tiny person being crushed by giant angry parents. Sarah pulled me into a hug and I started crying. Really crying. The kind of ugly sobbing where you can't breathe and your whole body shakes. What do? I asked between sobs. How do I fix this? I don't know if you can fix it, Sarah said honestly. But you can start trying. You can show her that you're not that scary, angry person anymore. You can prove that you're safe again. That night, I did something I'd been avoiding for a week. I listened to my ex-husband's voicemails. There were 17 of them. The first few were angry, cursing me out for humiliating him, for ruining his career, for destroying his relationship with his daughter. I almost deleted the rest without listening. But then they changed. By voicemail 8, his voice was different, quieter, broken. Please let me see her. I know what I did was unforgivable, but she's my daughter. I'm begging you, please don't keep her from me. She needs her dad. She needs both of us to not be at war. Voicemail 15. I talked to a lawyer. He says you can't legally prevent me from seeing her without a court order. But I don't want to fight you in court. I don't want her to go through more trauma. So I'm asking, please, 2 hours, supervised, whatever you want. Just let me see my daughter. Voicemail 17. From that morning. Her teacher called me. They told me what happened at school. They told me she hit another kid. Please, we need to talk. Not about the divorce. About her. Please. I stared at my phone for a long time. Then I called him back. He answered on the first ring. Hello? Saturday. My mom's house. 2 hours. Supervised. You show up on time, you don't bring up the party or the divorce. You just spend time with her. Can you do that? Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm not doing this for you. I cut him off. I'm doing it because Dr. Martinez says she needs stability from both parents. I'm doing it because she's been asking for you every day. I'm doing it because I finally realized that keeping her from you isn't protecting her. It's just hurting her more. I know, and I'm sorry for all of it. We'll talk about sorry later. Right now we talk about her. Only her. Agreed. When Saturday came, I drove my daughter to my mom's house. She'd been so excited all morning that she'd changed her outfit 3 times. She'd made him a drawing in art class, carefully colored, folded neatly in her backpack. Is Daddy still mad at me? She asked in the car. Why would he be mad at you? Because of the party. Because everyone saw, because I cried so loud. I had to pull over. Had to park the car and turn around to face her. Baby, listen to me. Daddy is not mad at you. I am not mad at you. What happened at the party was not your fault. It was Mommy's fault. Mommy made a bad choice. Daddy made bad choices too. But none of it was because of you. But if I didn't have a party? No. Stop. This is not on you. Do you understand me? You were celebrating your birthday. You invited your friends. You did everything right. The grown-ups messed up. Not you. She was quiet for a moment, processing. Are you sure? I'm sure. Daddy loves you so much. He's been wanting to see you all week. He misses you. Does he miss you too? The question caught me off guard. How do you explain to an 8-year-old that her parents' marriage is over? That love can die even when it was once real? Daddy and I aren't going to be married anymore, sweetie. But that doesn't mean he doesn't care about you. His love for you is completely separate from what happened between us. So I can still love both of you? Yes. You can always love both of us. And we both love you. That never changes. Okay? Okay. She buckled her seatbelt again. Can we go now? I don't want to be late. When we got to my mom's house, he was already there, sitting on the porch. When he saw our car, he stood up and I could see from his body language that he was nervous. My daughter unbuckled her seatbelt and ran to him, just ran. And he dropped to his knees and caught her and held her so tight, and I could see his shoulders shaking because he was crying. I missed you so much, princess, he said into her hair. I missed you so much. I missed you too, Daddy. Are you going to come home? Not right now, baby. But I'm still your daddy. That never changes, okay? Okay. I left them there. Went inside to sit with my mother while they played in the backyard. Through the window, I could see them on the swing set. Him pushing her, both of them laughing. Normal. Like nothing had changed, except everything had changed. That was the right thing to do, my mother said quietly. Took me long enough. Better late than never. She patted my hand. You're learning. That's what matters. The 2 hours turned into 3. When I finally told my daughter it was time to go, she hugged her father tight and made him promise to see her again soon. Next weekend? He asked, looking at me. Next weekend, I agreed. In the car, my daughter was lighter than she'd been in a week, chattering about the games they'd played, the jokes he'd told, how he'd promised to take her to the park next time. Mommy? She said as we pulled into our driveway. Yeah, baby. I'm glad Daddy's not mad at me. He was never mad at you, sweetie. And you're not scary anymore. I looked at her in the rearview mirror. Was I scary before? At the party. You got really scary. But you're okay now. Out of the mouths of children. The most devastating truths delivered in the simplest words. I'm working on being okay, I told her. I'm working on being the mom you deserve. You're still my mom. I still love you. I love you too, baby. More than anything in the world. And I meant it. Which is why I had to figure out how to stop being the mom who chose revenge over her daughter's well-being. How to start being the mom who put her first, even when it was hard. Even when it meant setting aside my rage and my hurt and my need to win. The next 8 weeks were the hardest of my life. Not because of the divorce proceedings. Those were actually straightforward given all the evidence. Not because of the financial stress of splitting assets and paying for 2 lawyers. But because every day I had to look at my daughter and see the damage I'd caused. The nightmares continued. 4 times a week, she'd wake up screaming. Always the same dream. Monsters fighting while she tried to hide. Sometimes the monsters had my face and her father's face. Sometimes they were just shapes, but always she was small and scared and unable to escape. Dr. Martinez saw her 3 times a week. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. Each session cost money we didn't really have now that we were maintaining 2 households. But it was non-negotiable. My daughter needed help, and I'd put her in a position where she needed that help. The compulsive behaviors developed gradually. By week 3, she was checking the front door lock 7 times before bed, touching the doorknob in a specific pattern, starting over if she messed up the sequence. Her hands became raw and red from washing them 20-30 times a day. I bought special lotion and gentle soap, but the compulsion was stronger than the pain. It's giving her a sense of control, Dr. Martinez explained to me after one session. When your world feels chaotic and unpredictable, rituals feel safe, but if it continues, we may need to consider medication along with therapy. Medication. For my 8-year-old daughter. Because I'd chosen to expose my husband's affair at her birthday party, instead of literally any other time or place. Supervised visits with her father happened every weekend now. First at my mother's house, then at a neutral location, a park, a family restaurant. Each time she came back a little lighter, a little more like herself, and each time I had to face the reality that keeping her from him had only made things worse. My ex-husband and I had exactly 3 conversations during those 8 weeks, all about logistics, drop-off times, therapy schedules, school events we both needed to attend. We were polite, clinical, careful not to trigger each other. We'd both been advised by our lawyers to keep things civil for the custody evaluation. The custody evaluation took 2 months. Dr. Reynolds, the court-appointed psychologist, interviewed everyone. Me, my ex-husband, my mother, teachers, Dr. Martinez. She watched us co-parent, took notes on everything. During my evaluation, she asked about the party. I'd practiced my answer. I was emotional. I regret the venue and timing. I should have handled it privately. Should have, she repeated. Do you still believe the confrontation was necessary? I prioritized vindication over my daughter's stability. That was wrong. The final session, Dr. Reynolds was direct. Your ex-husband's affair was a betrayal, but weaponizing your daughter's birthday party shows concerning judgment. That said, you're doing the work to repair things. I'm recommending joint custody with mandated family therapy. The hearing came 2 months later, 4 months after the party. Both lawyers made their cases. It was brutal hearing parents describe my daughter's screams, listening to clinical descriptions of the trauma I'd caused. The judge ruled joint custody. Tuesday and Thursday nights, plus every other weekend with him. The rest with me. Family therapy mandatory. It felt like losing, even though it could have been worse. After the hearing, my ex-husband and I stood in the courthouse hallway, both of us shell-shocked. "I deserved what you did to me," he said quietly. "I know that, but she didn't deserve it." "I know," I said. It was all I could say. What else was there? "I want us to be able to co-parent. For her sake. Can we try?" "I'm trying. That's all I can promise right now." He nodded. "It's enough. It has to be enough." We set up the shared calendar app that night, coordinated pickup and drop-off times, agreed to communicate only about logistics and our daughter's needs. No rehashing the past, no accusations, just two people trying to minimize the damage we'd both caused. The first official custody exchange was awkward and sad, packing her overnight bag with clothes and her favorite stuffed animal, driving to the neutral location, a grocery store parking lot, because that felt less loaded than either of our homes, watching her hug me goodbye and get into his car, coming home to an empty house that felt too quiet. But it got easier. After 4 weeks, the exchanges became routine. After 8 weeks, we could have brief conversations about her progress in school. After 12 weeks, we were both attending her school concerts and parent-teacher conferences, sitting in different rows but both there, both present. 6 months after everything exploded at my daughter's 8th birthday party, we'd settled into a new normal. The kind of normal that isn't really normal but becomes your reality because you don't have any other choice. My ex-husband has our daughter Tuesdays, Thursdays, and every other weekend. I have her the rest of the time. We coordinate through the calendar app. Texts for logistics only. No phone calls unless it's an emergency. No rehashing old fights. Just two people trying to be decent parents while navigating the wreckage of a marriage neither of us had fought hard enough to save. He found a new job after 3 months of searching. Had to take a pay cut. Moved to a smaller company in a different industry. The HR investigation ended with his termination, though his lawyer negotiated it as a voluntary resignation on paper. He pays child support on time. That's the extent of what I know about his professional life now. My daughter is doing better. The nightmares are down to once or twice a week instead of 4 times. The compulsive checking has decreased. 3 times before bed instead of 7. She still washes her hands too much, but we're working on it. Dr. Martinez says she's resilient, that kids can heal if given stable environments. So that's what I'm trying to be. Stable, consistent, predictable, the opposite of what I was at that party. Today, 9 months after the disaster, I'm throwing her a small party. Not a birthday party. Just a celebration. A do-over of sorts. My parents suggested it after seeing how much she'd improved in therapy. Let her have a happy party memory, my mother said. Replace the bad one with a good one. So here we are at my house. Me, my parents, my ex-husband, who I invited because our daughter asked me to, and I'm learning to say yes to things that make her happy even when they make me uncomfortable, and 3 of her closest friends. At school pickup yesterday, I ran into Stephanie, the PTA president who'd been at that first party, the one who'd taken photos of the projector screen. She gave me a tight smile and kept walking. Most moms are like that now, polite but distant. A few have warmed up again, the ones whose own marriages aren't perfect, who understand that people make catastrophic mistakes. But I'll never be invited to organize the spring fundraiser or help with the book fair. That ship sailed with the projector, and I've made peace with that. My daughter's well-being matters more than my social standing. She wanted chocolate cake with purple frosting. That's what we got. She wanted to play games in the backyard. That's what we're doing. She wanted both of us here, and we're both here. Maintaining polite distance but managing to smile at each other when she's watching. It's not what I imagined when I pictured family birthdays. There's no pretense that we're still a happy family unit. The friends' parents who dropped their kids off did that careful thing where they greeted me warmly but looked at my ex-husband like they weren't sure they should acknowledge him. Word gets around in small towns. But my daughter is laughing. Really laughing. Not the forced cheerfulness she'd had for months after the first party. She's playing with her friends without constantly checking to see if her parents are fighting. She's just being 8 years old. When it's time to sing happy birthday, I watch my ex-husband light the candles and my daughter's face glows in the candlelight. Genuinely happy for the first time in months. He catches my eye across the cake and gives a small nod. Not forgiveness. Neither of us has earned that yet. Just acknowledgement that we're doing this right today. During a quiet moment when the kids are playing outside and my mother is refilling drinks, my ex-husband comes over to where I'm standing. "Thanks for including me," he says. "She wanted you here." "I know. But you could have said no." "I could have. But I'm learning that what I want matters less than what she needs." I pause. I should have learned that 9 months ago. He's quiet for a moment. "I destroyed our marriage. But you're right. The way you handled it destroyed something too. It's the most honest we've been with each other since everything fell apart. We stand there in uncomfortable silence, and then my daughter calls for him to come push her on the swing, and he goes. And I watch them together thinking about all the ways we both failed and the one thing we got right. Her. Later, after everyone leaves and the friends have been picked up and my ex-husband has driven away, it's just me and my daughter cleaning up wrapping paper and streamers. That was a good party, she says. Yeah? Yeah. No one was scary. Everyone was nice. It was just normal. Normal. The thing I destroyed 9 months ago by choosing revenge over normalcy. The thing she's been craving ever since. I'm glad, baby. She's quiet for a minute, folding a piece of wrapping paper into smaller and smaller squares. Kayla's mom says you're brave. Kayla is her best friend. Her mom was at the disastrous party. Saw everything. What do you think? I ask. I think you got really scary. But you're not scary anymore. It's not forgiveness. Not really. But it's progress. It's her telling me that I've earned back some measure of trust, that she feels safe with me again. Thank you for telling me that, I say. Mommy? Her voice gets smaller. Did you and Daddy love each other before the fighting? I sit down on the floor next to her. This is important. This is one of those moments where I need to get it right. Yes. Very much. We loved each other for a long time. What happened? How do you explain this to an 8-year-old? How do you tell her that sometimes love isn't enough? That people hurt each other? That anger can make you do terrible things? That her parents are both flawed humans who made catastrophic choices? Daddy did something that hurt me really badly, I say carefully. And then I got so angry that I hurt you and hurt him back in a really bad way. At my party. At your party. And I'm so sorry about that, baby. I should have handled it differently. I should have protected you from all of it. Are you still angry at Daddy? Honest. I need to be honest. Sometimes. But I'm working on not being angry all the time. Because being angry doesn't help you. And you're the most important thing. More important than being right? Out of the mouths of children. Yes. More important than being right. She thinks about this for a minute. Then, Daddy said he's sorry too. That he made bad choices. He did. We both did. But you're both trying to be better? We're trying. That's all we can do. She nods. Satisfied with this explanation in the way that kids are when you give them an honest answer instead of a perfect one. That night after she goes to bed, sleeping in her own room, only checking the lock 3 times instead of 7, I sit alone in the kitchen with a glass of wine. Sarah texts me, "How did the party go?" She checks in every week now. After months of me avoiding her calls, she didn't give up. Real friends don't. Good, I text back. Really good. No disasters. Just cake and games and a kid who's genuinely happy. That's what healing looks like, she responds. Proud of you. I found out my husband was cheating and I had every right to be furious, every right to leave, every right to expose what he'd done. But I chose to do it at our daughter's birthday party. And my daughter paid the price. Months of therapy. Nightmares, compulsive behaviors. She called me not scary anymore today. It's progress. It's her telling me I've earned back some trust. Maybe someone else is holding evidence of betrayal right now, planning their own public confrontation. I don't know what I'd tell them. That I don't regret leaving him, but I regret how I did it? That some truths need light, but explosions create more damage than clarity? I used dynamite when I needed a flashlight. Every calm, boring day now is me trying to be better than I was that day. Every not scary anymore reminds me I'm on the right path. That's all I can do.